Hi all. So actually I'm really revving to do a reading of Kobo Abe's Boxman, an excerpt, and to talk about him, Abe Kobo, as we say in Japanese. This is the centennial this year, 100 years since he was born, 1924. The Boxman Hakotoko is a song I wrote many years ago, and this year I did a new version and a video for the centennial, and there's a film coming out in Japan on the 23rd of August, and I guess it'll eventually be, worldwide with, I guess, subtitles. But I'm not going to do that tonight because I have other things that I need to do, and I also want to sort of prepare for it by rereading The Boxman again. I haven't read it in a long time. I'm thinking of maybe reading in both English and Japanese and doing some special thing for that. So that's going to maybe take a bit more time. But I've been thinking about this, in addition to the more, life talks or philosophical talks or whatever you want to call them, in terms of music, sometimes I feel like it's like, well, if I've said this before, then it's repetitive, but actually, I think people quickly forget, partly because I put things out at such a fast pace sometimes that it's like even the recent videos, it's like things get pushed out, it's, I think, like maximum 5, and so if I put a new album up and a week later it's already gone, it's been pushed out of that, which is why I make folders. But behind me, what I have playing is In the Age of Kali, which is This Dark Shroud. And this is the latest album, I guess you could say, of mine. And not long before I completed and released this, I also completed and released an album called The Tower under Marc Lowe. So The Tower as Marc Lowe, subtitled 11:1:11, and this actually has a kind of subtitle which is 3:3:3. They both have these number things going on, which I guess I could talk a little bit about, but what I want to say is that these are my 2 latest albums, and several months earlier I actually released on the same day officially 2 albums, Before and After COVID as Marc Lowe, and then The Unbecoming as This Dark Shroud. And then I had a few false attempts at doing a new This Dark Shroud album. Actually, a failed attempt became Before and After COVID. That became Marc Lowe, and then The Unbecoming. And since then, I guess I haven't officially sort of released anything. When I say officially, I mean Apple Music and that route. But these two, in the same sense, kind of go together. I feel they go hand in hand. So Marc Lowe, The Tower, and This Dark Shroud, what's playing behind me, In the Age of Kali. And right now, I think The Tower has something like 94 hits as of the time of this talk, and This Dark Shroud has something like 34 hits. So I thought maybe I would just, sort of, it's like not a reminder or a kind of a way to say, hey, these albums are there, and they're on the YouTube page in full with, track by track. You can navigate the menu, or you can just listen to it from start to finish, but the titles come up and it's navigable menus. So I'm still considering if or when to release these via the usual route. I mentioned how Apple Music wants lyrics for everything, so I can do lyrics, I think, for these albums without a problem. The spoken word bits, I may have to talk to my distributor about how that works, because my albums often, the things I do don't often fit into the constrictions of the rules that there's always rules that work for 90% of people's music and almost never work for what I do. So it's kind of a pain, but I'll figure it out. But in any case, they are both on this page, and you can find them if you go to the folder that says, audio LPs and EPs. Under This Dark Shroud, also, I put the This Dark Shroud album, but The Tower, I think both of them are actually in the LPs folder right now, the audio folder, not for acoustic, but for just the standard regular albums, LPs. So these are both dark electronic albums, which isn't to say that every single track is. What's playing in the background now opening track on the District Shroud is quite dark and chaotic sounding, kind of like much of before and after COVID was like this. The Tower, actually, of the two albums is maybe a bit more vocal and melodic. It has The Signs Were There, which I did a video recently for in a vocal version and a kind of semi-instrumental version, and it's got Hands for Sherwood Anderson. And when I do a Sherwood Anderson reading, I'm going to talk about what influenced that song, actually, why I say that's after Sherwood Anderson or for Sherwood Anderson. There's a story he wrote called Hands. And what else is on that album? I'm trying to think, because actually these both went through some changes and shifting around until I got these final albums. The Tower, of course, the title track, The Tower, which actually is also a totally different mix, is included on this. This also, speaking of remixes, includes Bifurcations, which was on before and after COVID in a different version. So The Tower Bifurcations is on here. This one, the District Shroud, also has Red Signals Acoustic and Wildest Wind, which I retitled My Wildest Wind, which is a cover of an IAMX track. Here it's piano vocal only in a much looser style than when I covered it several years ago for my tetralogy. And so on. Yeah, so I should have the iPad in front of me, because the Tower, I could check, what else is on there, trying to think about what other vocal tracks are on there. But definitely take a listen if you like electronica, dark electronica. They're both kind of dark electronica albums, but they, again, there's some acoustic on the District Shroud. There's some piano, vocal. There are different kinds of tracks on both albums. And there's some improvisatory things on both albums. And there's actually, on the District Shroud, there's some live tracks too, like the tribute to Sakamoto Riichi I put on here from late March, and so on. Let me grab the iPad, actually. And this way, yes, the Sakamoto is called Spectral Lamp, and of course, In the Age of Kali, which is a long improv, is on here too, very dark improv. The Tower also includes, what am I forgetting? Stop Running, Non-Entity, which is a Nine Inch Nails piano vocal cover version. In Is Out, Out Is In, Samsara, which is a kind of spoken word with ambient backing, and Destroy Your Ego, which is a kind of chaotic palimpsest of various things. The Office of Dead Letters with Sonny Yasuda. And that also reminds me, this one opens and closes with sort of my take on David Bowie's Hello Space Boy from 1995, which actually was self-influenced by Nine Inch Nails' 1994's The Downward Spiral kind of sound. It's a kind of industrial rock song. And so I went in the studio and played live drums for the track, and Cast Descending is a kind of instrumental alternate take on that as an original. And Hello Space Boy 2024, This Chaos Is Killing Me, ends the album. So this has a kind of Nine Inch Nails Bowie tribute, and the District Shroud has Wildest Wind, which is IMX. So there are actually a few covers on here too, or reinterpretations, you might say. And that's, I guess, it. I just wanted to say that these they're here, and I'm hoping that people will discover them or rediscover them or listen to them again if you've listened, and if you haven't, maybe give it a listen. I'm quite proud of this work. It's quite different from my acoustic work, other than Red Signals, the one acoustic song, which is actually a much older song that was originally in a more electronica arrangement. And so I just thought I would talk about this. My next video will either be another audio music, because I actually have other things. I have a bunch of improvs and things, or if I have the time, depending, it may be the reading number 6, I guess, in the series, which would be, I think the next one's going to be Boxman or Sherwood Anderson, but I'm going to do both Hako Toko by Abe Kobo and Sherwood Anderson, and I won't say what of his I'm going to read, although one thing definitely will be Hands. Okay, I'm going to sign out, And that's a quick talk tonight, and that's what I want it to be. So thank you very much. Just a reminder to check these albums out, and thanks for supporting me and this page with your interest, which is why I do this. So thanks. Cheers. Have a good evening or morning, depending when you're viewing this. Thank you. Signing off from Tokyo, Marc Lowe.